You are watching a clip from the Sports and Sorts podcast.
All right, now let's get into some MLB. We got the
Play ball!
We got some MLB stuff here.
Yeah.
The Bryman.
Oh, loud.
That crowd's so loud today.
Woo.
Jeez.
Hot.
Settle
Toast.
down. Jeez,
Toast.
Jeez,
Toast.
Yeah, seriously. Crowd's so fired up today. They're like,
Wow.
oh, finally we're getting to baseball. All right. So the Bryman, he just wants you to stop using the phrase generational talent.
Oh, I hate
and
it.
I want you to elaborate on this. Like
I
I
hate
understand
that
what
phrase.
you're talking about. I do, because there's a couple of players in the league right now that like one, Mike Trout. You could put that. You could
That's a
add that down to it.
generational talent. Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. I hate the phrase. I've seen it so many. I cannot tell you how many articles I have read this year, especially because of this offseason where you had Bryce Harper and Manny Machado available, where they talk about both of these guys being generational talents. Oh, you're watering down that phrase. That is, I'm sorry. Look, Bryce Harper and Manny Machado are going to get paid a lot of money, but that does not make them generational talents. To me, like that's a phrase you gotta just
wallets.
You gotta just stop throwing the phrase around. You're watering it down. I'm sorry. Look, when I think of generational talents, there's like a handful of names that come to mind.
Mantle, Ruth.
Mays, Mantle, Ruth, Koufax, Mike Trout for sure. But when you say
one of my favorite players of all time is Joe DiMaggio. I don't think he had generational talent.
He was a great hitter.
He was a great hitter, a great defense player, but he wasn't like he was an exceptional player.
Now,
He's not generational.
I'm actually almost okay, even though it's way too early in his career. But and of course he played like half the year. I'm actually okay if you kind of almost want to throw that label on Shohei Ohtani because of what he's doing, because of the fact that he's a dual threat. That to me is a better definition of something like a generational talent. Manny Machado's a good baseball player. That's it. He's not a generational talent. Bryce Harper is a good baseball player. Bryce Harper, I think, has got a little bit of a special it factor, but is he a generational talent?
They both had bad years.
Yeah, they played their well, no, Machado had a good year.
No, in their careers. They both have had bad years. Generational talents don't typically
rarely have that. But that's just that phrase bothers me so much.
You know, like Babe Ruth, where he hits 60 home runs in a league that's hitting like 12. You know?
Right.
That's generational talent.
But let's remember though, we probably shouldn't call Babe Ruth a generational talent because he'd only be a 140 hitter on this level in today's major league.
Well, in that generation. For that generation.
And he'd be struck out every time by Adam Ottavino, a guy, by the way, who's still unemployed. So, I mean, maybe we shouldn't call Babe Ruth a generational talent. Maybe he's just a hot dog eating 150 hitter in today's modern era.
Well, in 80 to 100 years from now, Shohei Ohtani will only bat 140 in that league.
Right?
Yeah, and he's not going to be able to strike anybody out. In that league, it's just going to be too good.
But honestly, I'm actually more okay with somebody saying Shohei Ohtani is a generational talent as opposed to Manny Machado. There is nothing generationally talented about Manny Machado. He's just a really good baseball player. In fact, unfortunately, when I see Manny Machado, I think more of Robinson Cano, a guy who's incredibly talented but lacks the drive to be truly great. That's kind of what I see with a guy like Manny Machado. Okay. I mean, because I hate guys one who don't hustle, and I hate guys more who actually tell you they don't hustle. And who are dirty. I mean, look, he's dirty. But you know what? Actually, you can put that stuff aside. Just look at the production from Manny Machado from the time he's been in baseball already for like six or 7 years. He's been around for a long time already.
Oh yeah.
He was basically plucked out of high school and came in right away. He's played at the big league level for a while. He feels like he's been around forever, and he's only 26. But if you look at him, like even from a production standpoint, there's nothing generational about it. I mean, they're good numbers. He's a talented guy. He projects to maybe be a Hall of Famer, but is he going to be? He's
not a top 20 best third baseman of all time. He's not a top 100 hitter of all time. Like he's not. Like you're right. He's a good to great baseball player.
He's a good baseball player. But a really good baseball player who's going to probably be making way more money than he should. But you know what? And actually, that kind of leads into the other hot.
That's the thing is, like, I don't even think he's probably not even in the conversation. I don't know if he's in the conversation as a top 10 best player in baseball now.
I'd have to really think
Mookie
about
Betts, it. Better.
Well, Trout, Betts,
better.
You know, I mean, there's a number of guys I would say Goldschmidt was actually going to be my next guy. I would easily put over Machado. I would probably put Harper over Machado. Arenado, I would put over Machado.
Harper?
I mean, yep, absolutely. I mean, if you're going to include pitchers on it, then forget about it.
Yeah,
if
you're just going to
if you're going to just do Scherzer, if you're going to just do position players, I still think there's probably enough guys that you could get over him. Yeah. It'd be close. He'd be in the conversation. But the fact that you can't even like definitively say he's a top,
I would argue Anthony Rendon's better than him. Like I mean, he's more on like the Chris Bryant level. Like that's where he's at. Like he's a good ball player.
Good ball player. But I'd rather have Chris Bryant.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I'd rather have Chris Bryant.
I mean, he's willing to go wherever you want him to play, and
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course.
So I'm sorry if you're gonna just stop throwing that phrase around. It's a silly phrase. It should be used for like. To me, if
Manny Machado has Robinson Cano's career at where Robinson Cano is right now,
yeah,
that would be tremendous for Manny Machado.
To me, I mean, if you want to really boil it down, in Major League Baseball right now, there are 700 players in Major League Baseball. I believe one of them is a generational talent, and his name is Mike Trout. Yeah. And that's it. That's it. If you really want to boil it down, is the potential there for Ohtani? Absolutely, because he's a two-way player. And as long as he continues to be a two-way player, then yes. And if he is successful at it, then without a doubt, he will be considered a generational talent. But as of right now, Mike Trout is the best baseball player of our generation, hands down. And he is a generational talent.
He's the best baseball player since the Mantle era.
No problem with him having that label. None.
I honestly think that. I truly believe that.
I don't even think
he is the best baseball player since Mays and Mantle.
I don't even think any of the pitchers in today's eras or in today's current modern league, Major League Baseball. I don't even think there's a pitcher that you could label right now as a generational talent. I would say not, and it's only because of his postseason lore. But Mad Bum is just a special guy. Yeah. But I can't call him generational talent.
I mean,
there's absolutely. I mean, Scherzer for sure. Yeah, see, but like again, these are guys. They're great. They're great. They're probably future Hall of Famers. But I can't.
Yeah. Scherzer's getting in the Hall of Fame. Verlander's
like you want to talk, like the first name that pops into my head as a pitcher as a generational talent was Sandy Koufax, who I still believe is the greatest pitcher who ever lived. And despite the fact that his numbers were nowhere close to really backing that up,
Randy Johnson was a generational talent.
Yes, he absolutely was, without a doubt. But that's just a phrase that like you got to just dial it back a little bit. Mm-hmm. Now, so that sort of does lead us into a little bit of hot stove news.
Yes.
Right now, the favorites in the clubhouse, by the way, leaders in the clubhouse to land Harper and Machado respectively are the Philadelphia Phillies and the Chicago White Sox. The Phillies had the Phillies had a 5-hour meeting with Harper over the weekend, and it does seem like, according to a number of different outlets, that they are, according to sources, they are definitely the leaders in the clubhouse for Philly. And it looks like the Nationals, who were going to be, I thought he was going to end up going back to the Nationals. It looks like they're basically saying, whatever Philadelphia is offering is just too rich for our blood. We can't afford to pay him more than $25 million a year. And as long as there's another team out there that's willing to set the bar higher and reestablish his value at above that, he's not going to go back to Washington. He's going to be a Philly, in my opinion. Machado, it looks like by default,
through the roof.
Yeah, and it looks like by default, now there are rumors out there that there is an 8-year, $250 million offer for Machado, although Bob Nightingale, who I don't really trust, said the only offer still on the table from the White Sox is still a 7-year deal, which would probably be in the 210 to 220 range. Either way, he's by default probably just ending up in Chicago. The Yankees are going to be out for a reason that you and I will talk about in a moment, that you and I think are both very happy about. A lot of Yankee fans are not. There's quite a split among Yankee fans right now. Honestly, it's so down the middle with this Manny Machado thing. And I actually think, from a Yankee fan perspective, it's less about Manny Machado specifically and more about, well, why not? You went into this offseason where you had gotten beneath this threshold, And there was this impression, although never a guarantee, but there was this impression that the Yankees were going to spend like drunken fools, and they were going to get one of Harper or Machado, and that's not going to happen. Now, I am very happy about that, if not relieved. I would have liked Harper only because, again, I feel like Bryce Harper does have a bit of a special it factor, even though he's kind of alienated himself a little bit in his own clubhouse, and I think throughout baseball, I think there's a lot of guys who don't like him. But I still feel like he's got a special it factor. That being said, I am not heartbroken in any way, shape, or form that the Yankees have passed on both of these guys.
Yeah.
For a number of reasons. One, I hate the idea of carrying two mega deals on your roster. It just clogs up it clogs up the team payroll, and it really stunts your ability to be active at the trade deadline. Two, and way more importantly, is at some point down the road, Yankees, you're going to have to pay Aaron Judge. You're going to have to pay Luis Severino. By the way, they did themselves no favors with Luis Severino this weekend because they went cheap on their offer in arbitration to him, and that could bite them in the ass the same way that it could bite them this coming offseason when Dellin Betances is a free agent. Because as you recall, a couple of years ago, Betances went through this with the Yankees. They went cheap on him in arbitration and trying to negotiate, and they went to arbitration and it got ugly. Yep. Betances is going to be a free agent after this year, which is why signing Britton was even more important. But here's the thing. You're going to have to pay Judge. You're going to have to pay Judge. You're going to have to pay Severino. At some point, you're going to have to pay Didi. You're going to have to pay Glaber down the road. And if you keep Andujar, you're going to have to pay him down the road. There are a handful of guys that the Yankees are going to have to take care of. And if you want to keep this core together like I do, you're going to have to address that in the near future. You cannot do it, Judge being the biggest one. You're not going to be able to do it if you're carrying two mega deals. You just will not be able to do it. So to me, the Yankees passing on these two guys, to me, is not an indication of them being cheap. It's an indication of saying
we're more heavily. This is good. This is good news.
Yes, it is. We're more heavily invested in keeping our guys together because we know, right, just like the dynasty teams did, we know that this core can win a championship. We're way, way more concerned with keeping these guys together than we are with bringing in outsiders because those outsiders are not there to plug holes. Those guys are there to take jobs. I'm sorry, but if you sign Machado, you got to get rid of Andujar. There's basically no other way around that. Unless you're going to have him play first base.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what we're looking at. Is I think that because they did something that I have been championing.
I'll let you break
since
that.
The very beginning. Yeah. The man I've been pining for all after the season's been over.
I got to tip my hat to you, by the way. I never saw this coming.
And because Brian Cashman obviously listens to the show and holds my opinion in very high regards. We got DJ LeMahieu and our buddy from who comes on the show every once in a while. He writes for SNY, Chris Corelli. He had put on here, he said, despite the notion that LeMahieu is going to be an uber infielder, he's played 94.8% of his MLB games at second base. And plays the keystone quite well. And that is what I have been talking about
time Gold Glove winner
since the get-go, is that he is a excellent second baseman.
Yes.
You had one of the worst second basemen in Glaber Torres last year. He doesn't have much range. He doesn't have there is just issues with Glaber Torres where I think he would fit better at third. Now, I don't know if they're going to move him to third for the long term. I think what they're going to try and do.
I'd be okay with that, at least for this. These 2 years.
Because I think what's going to happen is I think they're going to see where they are halfway through the season. I think you're going to have Andujar get traded. It's either Andujar or Torres is going to get traded for Nolan Arenado. And I think that Nolan Arenado is going to be like, we are going to sign you, and then because we are going to trade for you, and then we are going to keep you. We are going to blow you away with an offer afterwards, and we're going to have you be our third baseman. And that's going to be the big signing that they're going to be going forward with. It's going to be less than the Machado and the Harpers, and they're still going to have some.
Be on board with it.
But I do think that they're going to give Andujar kind of because I'm not sure what they're going to do with Tulo yet. I don't know if they're just going to say, you know what, he's kind of a big body guy. We can move him to first. We can play Glaber at short. We can play Andujar at third, and we can see if Andujar, because he's been working really hard this offseason to be a better third baseman, see if he can actually step up. And then they're going to figure out which of these two they're going to trade to figure out, like, if Andujar is not stepping up, then what they do is, all right, time to trade Andujar. He can go over to Colorado, and you get Nolan Arenado. Obviously, going to depart probably some other talent too, because
a lot of other.
But
that ain't going to be enough.
But then you move. Then you have Gleyber Torres, who's playing short at the time or whatever, and you have Nolan Arenado playing third, and Didi will be playing short, and you'll have DJ LeMahieu playing second. You'll have somebody like maybe Tulo or something like that at first. There is options. There's options out there. And then DJ LeMahieu can bounce all over the place, and they could make Gleyber Torres a kind of like what they were saying, an uber infielder. He could just kind of keep bouncing around and giving everybody. I do think that he's a better defensive player than Andujar, but he just doesn't have much range. That's why I think third base suits him the best.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting how they balance those two young kids and seeing what they do with those two kids.
It feels like one of them.
They're going to move. I don't know if they're going to move Torres to left field. I have no idea what they're going to do. I have no idea.
It does feel like one of them's an odd man out eventually, but
has to be. There's no room. There's going to be no
unless,
room.
like you said, one of them ends up in the outfield.
Right, and that's a little scary because we're so used to having, as much as we kind of trashed Brett Gardner last year because he is old. He's done.
Sure.
Offensively, he's pretty much done.
It's a $9 million cheerleader.
But he has been always a top-notch, one of the best left fielders in the game. He's one of the three best left fielders in the game every year. And he has been for like 10 years. So,
and a great teammate.
Yes, he's a great teammate.
And a good clubhouse guy. I mean,
good leader, all that. Yeah,
he's a good leader, a champion, all that stuff.
But he's an offensive liability now.
Without a doubt.
So that's kind of where we're at. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do. But I'm excited. I'm excited.
And I'm not going to say that you and I are in the minority because I believe we're part of a split. But you and I think, are very happy with the current outlook of this team and the way that this team.
Manny Machado.
They absolutely did not.
You need more pitching and better defense.
So you know what was interesting? I saw on the Yankees Daily group this morning, right? Mm-hmm. I won't name any names, but there was somebody who
that
put a
post you made of.
The post, there was a no.
But there was a post that you made, and I it's not that I know, but there was a post and it made me almost fall out of my chair.
Oh.
And I sent you a text. I sent you a picture of it, and you just responded with a laugh. But yeah.
To be fair, though, the post that I'm about to reference is from the same guy.
Yeah, I figured.
It's from that guy. So I think he said something like this. Saying the Yankees can't afford Machado or Harper is like saying Bill Gates can't afford a Lamborghini. Okay. Here's the thing, though. Just because you can afford a Lamborghini, does that mean you would buy a Lamborghini? Does that mean you have to get said Lamborghini?
Luxury at it. And I would say that Bill Gates has a lot more money than the Yankees. So it would be it wouldn't be just buying a Lamborghini. It would be buying a fleet of Lamborghinis.
Right. It's actually really not a great analogy, yes, because it's not really relative in terms of what one guy has versus what this team has. Yeah. Bill Gates is worth more than the Yankees are. But
and he doesn't have a salary cap.
Right, and right, he has right. So, but ultimately what it comes down to is just because you can afford this shiny object, that does not mean you have to have it.
Right.
Now, look,
some of the best moves are the ones that aren't done.
And I believe wholeheartedly that Manny Machado falls into the addition by subtraction category. I really do, because you know how I am. I'm such a heart gut guy, and I believe that a guy like Manny Machado gets into your clubhouse and kills it from the inside out. And I know a lot of people will roll their eyes about that because they think he's a generational talent. But I'm sorry. To me, that's just a guy who gets into your clubhouse and between his actions off the field and his occasional dirty play and lack of hustle on the field, I'm sorry, but I just think that that's the kind of guy you want to avoid. And it's especially the kind of guy you want to avoid tying up a ton of your payroll in. I mean, it'd be one thing. I mean, even if he was making $10 million a year, I still wouldn't want a guy like that on my team. I'm sorry. He was a guy I never, ever wanted. If they had gotten Harper, I would have been like, unnecessary, but cool, because I like Bryce Harper. And also, I believe Bryce Harper was way, way more needed in their lineup than Manny Machado. How many right-handed bats do the Yankees need? I mean, I like Tulowitzki and I do like LeMahieu, but they're both also right-handed bats.
Yes.
They just added 2 more right-handed bats to a team that already had way too many right-handed bats. That's why I thought it was so puzzling that Cashman just sort of brushed off the idea of Bryce Harper. You couldn't have used a left-handed bat in your lineup? I mean, even if you didn't get Harper, you didn't pursue a left-handed bat this year. I mean, look, and I like LeMahieu, but I still think Marwin Gonzalez would have been the better guy. Marwin Gonzalez might have cost more. Unfortunately, we can forget about Marwin Gonzalez. That's not going to happen. LeMahieu and Tulowitzki now basically cement that infield. You're not going to bring Marwin Gonzalez. Even though Marwin Gonzalez is a Swiss Army knife, you're not going to bring him in to play the outfield. Unfortunately, I have to let go of that dream because he was the guy I really wanted this offseason. It didn't happen. But you got your guy, and I am happy for you for that. And I also liked LeMahieu a lot. So
he's a hit machine.
But you and I are in that boat. We're in whatever the other half is that likes what the Yankees have done this offseason, thinks that. And here's the other thing. Don't get too crazy about the fact that the Yankees were cheap. Their payroll is $220 million. They're a top 5 payroll. Mm-hmm. They're not cheap. They spent a lot this offseason. They brought in a lot of guys.
100.
So,
I just want to, real quick, I just want to read something. And this is why I didn't think that they needed him. I didn't think they needed Manny Machado. Manny Machado's numbers this year, 632 at-bats, 84 runs scored, 188 hits, 297 batting average, 37 home runs, 107 RBIs. Right? That's good. That's really good.
Good.
But with Miguel Andujar, 573 at-bats, 83 runs scored, 170 hits, 297 batting average, 27 home runs, 92 RBIs.
And the difference between the two guys is roughly $30 million.
Yeah, it's like 10 home runs. He also didn't play as many. He didn't have as many at-bats. He had 100 less at-bats.
Right. And I'm sorry, but there are not enough errors that Miguel Andujar can make to make me think he's worth $30 million. I mean, to make me think that Machado's worth $30 million.
It's not that big of an upgrade. That's what we were talking about the whole time.
Not offensively, it's not.
Yeah. Defensively, it would have been big. But you know what? There were other options, and there are better options, I feel, in the future. And Nolan Arenado is one of those options. I would prefer Anthony Rendon because I think he'll be even cheaper than Arenado. But I just think he's a better defensive player, and I think he's a better surefire bet
now,
as an offensive player.
My brother had a theory that he texted me after the LeMahieu signing because he said that to him he felt like this had to be a precursor to something else, and he might be right. And he said maybe not that this is so hard for me too because and you may know where I'm going with this, but maybe they're going to now dangle because maybe Andujar wasn't enough of a chip, but maybe they'll now maybe they'll dangle Glaber for Mad Bum. Because maybe that's what it's going to take to get him.
Oh, all right.
Now, here's the thing. You know how I feel about Madison Bumgarner. He's my favorite pitcher in baseball by a mile, and he's maybe like my second overall favorite player, if not my favorite. It really is going to depend on what happens with Red Thunder there. But would I make that deal, essentially? I'm sure the Yankees would have to chip in a couple of other pieces, but nothing significant. Do I make that deal? Yeah, in a heartbeat. I have to. Because to me, as far as I can see it, the Yankees still have yet to make a response to the Red Sox for getting Chris Sale a few years ago. If you look at it, and I'm sorry, but like, the Red Sox got Schilling. They won a World Series. Then the Yankees got Randy Johnson. The Red Sox got Chris Sale, and the Yankees have yet to make that counter move, that counter punch. And I think the only guy who can do it, I think the only guy who can truly restore order to this universe is to get Madison Bumgarner. And I know that he comes with question marks, but I have to make that trade. I don't know about you, but I have to make that trade.
It's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
I don't know if that really applies to
it. Does. We got hit last year, and we got knocked down.
I suppose.
And we got to get up, and we got to keep moving forward.
Well,
that thing is the sign Mad Bum. Let's sign him.
So in other words, you would make that trade.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Yes, absolutely. Mad Bum? Hell yeah.
So you're on board with that, okay. I mean, so it's like a no-brainer for both of us. Trade Gleyber Torres, who has, had a nice rookie year and looks like the real deal. But imagine a rotation of Mad Bum, Severino, Tanaka.
Mad Bum would step on the hill opening day, or like the first time that they stepped in there and played the Red Sox, and he'd point at him, and he'd be like,
"Well, let me tell you something, brother."
And then he would shut him down.
He wouldn't do that. He would just get them out with his amazing stuff.
Yes.
But can you imagine a playoff rotation of Mad Bum, Paxton, Severino, and Tanaka? Holy crap! And Jay Happ is he's not even on your playoff rotation.
It'd be six-man roster. Yeah.
Oh my God!
That's what I've been looking for. I've been looking for the six-man rotation. That's what I want on this team. They all need it. All right.
If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You have just watched a clip from Sports and Sorts, where we go live every Monday and Saturday on YouTube. Thanks for watching.